Warren Buffett has a quotation that I really like. He said, "The most important investment you can make is in yourself." Now, Warren Buffett is obviously one of the wealthiest persons in the world, and he's made his entire career of making really savvy investments. So I want to ponder those words. He says, the most important investment is in yourself. So, what would that look like? If one of the wealthiest persons in the world says that's true, how can it not be true for us who are pastors, spiritual leaders, and Christians who are seeking to make maximum impact in the world and live as Jesus' hands, feet, and mouthpieces? What's it look like for us to make an investment, and why is it important? Bernard of Clairvaux, in his sermon number 18 on the Song of Songs, warns that too many Christian leaders that we serve not as out of a position, not of being a reservoir where God's grace and abundance just overflows out of our lives, but instead we're just a canal, a dry channel. And he says one of the temptations for spiritual leaders is that we take the command, love your neighbor as yourself, to really mean love your neighbor more than you love yourself. And when we find ourselves in that position, though, we slowly are starved of the very oxygen that we actually need to function highly. So what's it look like? How can we invest in ourselves so that we can love others as we love ourselves, so that we can love others for the sake of God and grow into the persons that God created us to be? One of my favorite coaches, Dan Sullivan, says that we should be focusing on what he says is cash. So I can remember this, the acronym CASH, but you spell it with a K. So if we want to grow, we need to focus on knowledge, attitude, skills, and habits. So what are you doing to fuel yourself in those areas? How are you growing in knowledge of God? What are you reading? What are you listening to? What are you watching? What are you investing in? How are you growing in knowledge? How are you allowing God's grace to come in your life and to establish new attitudes and mindsets? How are you becoming more curious of others as we begin to try to seek to create bridges where we only find divisions? What attitudes do we need to embrace that would allow us to grow and be persons that can reach others, especially others who may be different than us, particularly in terms of our political views or even sometimes our theological views? What attitudes can we embrace that allow us to be open to the world and not closed off, that allow us to sow seeds widely and not simply to sow seeds in a small little patch? What skills? What skills are you learning? Are you learning how to work with people more effectively? Are you learning skills that allow us to manage our energy, our emotions, our word choices, and even our leadership skills? Those are all things that we can learn. Invest in yourself. And then what habits? And this gets back to rule of life. What are you doing each day that allows you to slowly open yourself up to more and more of God's grace? What are your habits, leaders? Again, I agree with Buffett. The most important investment is in yourself. Friends, if I can serve you in any way, let me know. Live by faith, be known by love, and be voices of hope in a world that desperately needs it. Invest in yourself. God's got so much at stake. Let us open ourselves up to ongoing growth.